I want to get this out of my system. One, look at this argument of, oh, you're voter shaming me if I don't vote for Joe Biden over a third party candidate. Well, one, in my view, if you vote for a third party candidate in a swing state, you're being stupid. If you write in some candidate, you're being stupid. What I also can't stand is this double standard shit. Now, I read this from Humanist Report on his Twitter, I should say. And I'll tell you what fucking pissed me off. It was this. You voted for Joe Biden when you live in a safe state. Well, one, you're a dick. Two, you believe in nothing. Three, I got more credibility to give you shit than you have given Mike Fiorino shit for that. Now you might say, well, Darth Bryboy, you suffer from Trump derangement syndrome, whatever the fuck that means. Where it's like, oh, you can't give Trump credit for anything. Well, let me tell you about that. Trump is not worthy of any form of credit whatsoever. Mostly because anything you could give him credit for, he rolls back on in some form or another. Two, regardless of if Donald Trump wins or loses the election, Donald Trump has achieved something Republican presidents wish they could achieve within their first term in office. Donald Trump has allowed 3 conservative Supreme Court justices. 3. This will lead to a variety of things that will happen. One is the destruction of the Affordable Care Act, which, yes, has its problems. Yes, is very flawed. It's not Medicare for all, but it was some semblance of a health care plan. 2. The repeal of Roe v. Wade. Now, I frankly do not care if you're for abortion or not. What I want you to understand is the key view of pro-choice is that the word choice is very important to keep in mind. That means that you have the right to choose what you can do with what is inside you. I'm not a woman. I shouldn't get to choose what a woman does with a being inside her. Now, I also recognize that there's also more nuances and different arguments you could lay out as to why a man could get involved with an abortion, or why an abortion, when it involves 2 sex partners, is a complicated clusterfuck. But this is the thing with abortion at the end of the day. Abortion is already a very traumatic and difficult thing for someone to do. Okay? It is something that one should not take lightly. Some people do. I disagree with those people. But an abortion can be a very traumatic thing. That's why you have organizations like Planned Parenthood that do what they can to make this traumatic procedure as less traumatic as it can be. When you repeal Roe v. Wade, what you will be doing is you will be forcing women to go through desperate as fuck situations so that they can get an abortion. Like if it's their rapist child, or it was a product of incest, or if it's a pregnancy that was unplanned. The girl could be 14 and doesn't want to have a kid at 14 years old. So, now that we've taken that procedure in, allow me to tell my fellow leftists one thing. You're not going to have a feasible left-wing revolution in any capacity whatsoever within the United States. You never will. The left is a minority of a minority within the United States of America. As much as we love to be in our Twitter echo chambers, that does not represent the population of the United States. Not to mention, while you do have more militant left-wing organizations popping up, these will not be enough to counteract or fight against the militias on the right. I think you can have an argument of, well, these are defensive purposes for when we encounter right-wing militias. That, I think, has more of a plausible argument and saying, well, we need to overthrow the United States of America. Because if the right can't do that, what the hell makes you think you can do that? So when I hear leftists go, well, Joe Biden sucks. Joe Biden's a terrible candidate. Joe Biden is not going to do a Green New Deal. He's not going to do Medicare for all. I'm with you. However, you're forgetting a couple of things. There are reports coming out that are saying that Bernie Sanders, you know that Bernie Sanders? The guy most of us probably voted for in the damn primary in 2016 and 2020? That Bernie Sanders could be Biden's Secretary of Labor. Why the hell do you think Bernie Sanders was trying to cozy up to Biden like he was? That man is a politician and knows how to play the game enough to where he can influence progressive change within the administration. So you might say, well, Joe Biden's willing to pick Republican politicians within his administration. I will say that is alarming. However, if Joe Biden is willing to put Bernie Sanders in, one could argue that Biden is trying to frame his administration as the great political ecosystem for multiple views of the country, as a symbol of unity, transition away from what Donald Trump has been doing. Now, perhaps you can also call me naive and foolish for thinking that a Bernie Sanders Secretary of Labor will ever happen within a Biden presidency, but it might. I will also say that at this point, voting for third party, I can understand. I voted third party on the local level when I had my ballot. When I had my ballot, I looked and I saw the Green Party candidates for local positions. I picked the Green Party for those local positions, even if they don't have a chance of winning those local positions. My view is that on the local level, at least, a third party could achieve more power than they would on the presidential level. Because what are we really talking about when we're voting for the Green Party? The argument is always, we want the Green Party to get 5% of the vote so that they can receive federal funding. So that's the main view in voting for Green. Or giving the middle finger to the establishment, which I can understand and I empathize with. But one must play strategically when they are dealing with a country that now has an extreme right-wing Supreme Court that is going to roll back voting rights, that is going to roll back what little progress we have made. So you want to talk about Medicare for all? You better hope that we can pack the courts and add more justices so that those can be brought to the Supreme Court. Okay? You better hope we can do that. Because frankly, when we have a conservative Supreme Court and if the courts are packed, the liberals aren't going to be able to pass an agenda that's worth anything. So that's why at the end of the day, you need to vote to get the lesser of two evils in. Now you can say, well, the lesser of two evils strategy leads to a greater evil. To some extent, that is true. But in other instances, the lesser of two evils is the greater thing to happen. When I go on left-wing Twitter and I see stupid Twitter polls of which do you think is worse, liberals or conservatives? And I see leftists pick liberals over conservatives, I'm like, you're out of your damn mind. A liberal you can compromise with. A liberal you can come to some consensus with on what could reduce as much harm as possible for the greater good. A conservative, at least the conservatives we're dealing with in the Trump era and prior to the Trump era, are not people who will agree with you on anything. Which is a depressing conclusion to come to, but it's a conclusion that I've thought about for a very long time. So, what you need to understand is the left, and I'm talking about the more, leftist left, like socialists, Marxists, and communists, you do not have a chance of turning the United States into a socialist utopia given how it's governed right now and given the extremely strong military that it has. So before leftists go, we need a revolution. We need a revolution. How the hell are you going to really achieve this revolution? Now, I think, depressingly enough, we have never been more on a cusp of a revolution in the United States than we have at this moment in time. However, I am a believer in harm reduction. I don't want people getting hurt. I don't want people getting needlessly killed. Even if the end result is my ideal utopia, human life is more important. And I will always stand by that position. And you cannot convince me otherwise. So, I want to conclude with this. Donald Trump is a danger. Donald Trump is a threat to the republic, what little of one we have left. Donald Trump is an authoritarian. Donald Trump is a fascist. Because a fascist doesn't have to be like a Mussolini or a Hitler initially. All fascism needs is mechanisms within a republic for it to subtly implement their agenda. And that is what you are seeing with Donald Trump. So when Donald Trump loses, he can leave safely going, well, I got a conservative Supreme Court. I basically have stopped any progress that could be made feasibly. That's something you got to keep in mind. So, live long and prosper and have a good day.